too much blood of Christ.
It's a miracle. You are with child.
Originally, I auditioned, I was like 16, and and it was, I believe it was just an indie, and I was auditioning for it, and it disappeared. Just completely disappeared. And I loved the audition, I loved the character, I loved the script, and then like 8 months later, it randomly came back, but with a few different elements attached, and I got another callback for it, and I was so excited because at the time, like, I hadn't had many callbacks, and I remember going in and I got to read with someone else, and I was so nervous, and I remember sitting in the car about to go into the audition and sitting in the waiting room. I remember everything about it, and then it disappeared again. And every year, like, I would randomly just think about Immaculate, and I would call my team and say, hey, who ended up booking that? Where is it? And it wasn't until I was filming Handmaid's Tale, and it was a mixture between Handmaid's Tale and being on set of Sharp Objects, where Sharp Objects, I finally had filmmakers who took me under their wing with Nathan Ross and Jean-Marc Vallée, who I had a small role, but they would invite me to come watch set and see how they'd work, and I saw how just creative it was. And then with Handmaid's Tale, watching Elizabeth Moss, I was like, oh my gosh, I see Immaculate in my head. I want to make it. And it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever going to let me make it, but I called my team and I was like, I want to find this script and I want to see if I can do it myself. And that's kind of how it was 10 years, but it was a crazy process.
I mean, there were obviously so many similarities in Handmaid's Tale, but even like your character in Handmaid's Tale, like you know, you're sort of bought in, you know, and then there's this journey of just, you're completely changed by the end of it, you know.
I know God saved me for a reason, but I guess I'm still searching for what that reason is.
I was curious, you know, horror I feel like is such a polarizing thing, but it seemed like, especially the last scene, without giving anything away, like it just asked so much of you as an actor, maybe uniquely from other types of genres. Mm-hmm. Did you feel that?
I felt a different connection to that scene. I think because Cecilia's journey is such a crazy arc that you don't see coming, that it unlocks such a primal, guttural rage within that was really exciting to explore as an actor.
And I wanted to ask you about your production company. So I know it's been about 3 years since you launched it. Can you talk a little bit about like sort of the rationale behind launching it and your experience of having, you know, these 3 years?
Yeah, I love the business. I love being a part and involved in as many aspects as I possibly can. And I love reading. I love just building worlds. So when I started seeing books in my head and imagining like what it would look like as a movie or TV show, or reading scripts that then couldn't get off the ground and me being like, this needs to be made, I was like, I'm just gonna see what I can do. And it's a fun game to play. Mm-hmm. It's a really interesting business.
Has it been rewarding in the sense of like I remember reading something about you like wanting creative autonomy in that sense.
Very much.
You feel like you have you felt that.
Especially on Immaculate and Anyone But You. I just felt like I had such amazing relationships with everybody on the team, but I also was valued as like an actual member who could voice opinions and have ideas and help problem solve.
Do you think directing is in the future?
Maybe. We'll see.
And I was curious, you know, it doesn't have to be horror, but I wonder, there's obviously so many like on-screen nuns to look to. Was there any that were kind of giving you inspo for this?
No, you know, we never really looked at a lot of nun films. There were some that I would visually reference and send cool just like framework that I liked, but we didn't. It's really interesting seeing the press's reaction and how they're pulling different themes from it and the nunsploitation aspect, because it wasn't our intention going into it. So it's cool. People are finding different themes in the film.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because even, I mean, I won't give anything away, but like not showing certain things at the very end or keeping it sort of in the foreground reminded me a lot of Rosemary's Baby.
Yes, that was one of our biggest inspirations.
Yeah, that's great. Are you into horror? Or
I am. My dad is a huge horror fan, so I grew up watching a lot of movies with him, and so I like them.